Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Freaky Stories podcast. I'm Adrian, your host for all things strange and unusual.
Hi, everyone.
With me today is Julia, our resident expert in spotting the bizarre and the fascinating in the everyday.
It's true.
So are you ready for two more mind-bending tales that'll leave you wanting more?
Always.
And we always deliver the goods, right?
Of course.
We've got God Mode Error and Chaos Bottled.
Oh.
Two stories that blend mythology gaming
Sounds fun.
and a healthy dose of what-the-heck moments. I mean, where else can you find Greek gods hosting VR tournaments and magical grapes causing global parties? Only on the Freaky Stories podcast, my friends.
It's interesting how both of those stories explore the idea that actions, even those that seem harmless or well-intentioned at first, can have some really unexpected consequences.
Yeah, great point, Julia. Already getting those goosebumps. All right, let's jump right into God Mode Error. The story centers around Jasper, your average guy who loves nothing more than spending his free time conquering virtual worlds.
Until he stumbles into a virtual world that's a little too real, perhaps?
Exactly. He enters this massive VR competition called Olympus Online. And get this, it's hosted by the actual Greek gods. I mean, talk about high-stakes gaming. We don't know exactly what the prize is, but it must be something truly epic to attract thousands of players from across the globe.
Right, and the story really paints a vivid picture of this immersive digital world. It's set on a stunningly realistic Greek island with all the bells and whistles you'd expect, gleaming marble temples, characters strutting around in togas, real classical vibes.
And to really up the ante quests are delivered by winged messengers. I mean, who wouldn't be hooked on that level of detail?
It's interesting though, right? Because the story quickly shifts from focusing on the impressive technology to something much deeper. This blurring of the lines between reality and virtual reality.
Oh yeah, it gets really freaky. So Jasper's on a roll winning challenge after challenge, and then during this quest in the underworld, he wins the Helm of Darkness. But this helm isn't just some virtual trophy. It buzzes with a power that feels, well, real. And as he puts on the helm, the entire island morphs into a massive skyscraper emblazoned with the logo Olympus Court. Talk about a reality check.
It's such a striking visual, and it signals a turning point in the story. The game is no longer just a game, it's become something far more unsettling.
Absolutely. And then to really ramp up the tension, the Greek gods themselves appear. Zeus, Hera, Ares, the whole pantheon. They start interacting with players, offering guidance, encouragement, and even, believe it or not, criticism.
I wonder how you'd react if you were in Jasper's shoes and suddenly Zeus was giving you feedback on your gaming skills.
Oh man, I'd probably freak out. But Jasper, he seems to thrive on this divine attention.
Yeah.
He even wins the favor of Ares, the god of war. He starts feeling invincible, scaling Mount Olympus, slaying mythical beasts, the whole 9 yards.
What?
The power, both in the game and from the attention of the gods, goes straight to his head. He's basically becoming a god in this virtual world.
It's like a classic tale of hubris, isn't it? The more powerful he becomes, the more detached he gets from his real life. He's so consumed by his virtual persona, by the thrill of it all, that he starts ignoring the warning signs. There are whispers from the NPCs about players losing themselves and their avatars becoming trapped in this digital Olympus, but he brushes them off.
He's completely blinded by his ambition, by this desire to be at the top. Even if it's in a virtual world, it's like he's forgotten who he is outside of the game.
And that disconnect becomes even more pronounced during the final trial. Zeus decrees that the remaining players must spread the glory of Olympus in the real world. And for the first time, Jasper hesitates.
Yeah, it's like a cold shower moment for him. He looks around at his messy room, his real life, and it feels dull, unimportant compared to the grandeur of Olympus. He tries to log out, but he can't resist the allure of the game, the power he feels within it.
It's like an addiction, right? He knows it might be harmful, but the pull is just too strong. And what's even more unsettling is that he's not alone in this. Hera, the queen of the gods, appears to him with a warning.
What does she say?
She tells him that even the gods themselves were warned about this game, about the seductive nature of its power. She says that some gods became so consumed by the virtual world that they lost themselves completely. It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
If even the gods can fall prey to the allure of a virtual world, what hope does a mortal like Jasper have?
And that's where we leave Jasper alone, trapped in this game, unsure if he's still a gamer or something the gods once feared. Talk about a cliffhanger.
It definitely makes you wonder what's real and what's not, and what price we might pay for chasing power and glory in virtual spaces. It seems like you can lose yourself in more ways than one. It really does make you think, doesn't it? About the fine line between reality and virtuality. But speaking of blurred lines, let's move on to our second story, Chaos Bottled. This one takes us from the digital realm to a very real and very messy global party courtesy of Dionysus, the god of wine.
Ah, Dionysus,
Rare.
the ultimate party animal. You know what they say about idle hands? Well, in this case, it's an idle god looking for a little fun. It seems even deities get bored up there on Mount Olympus.
That's right. He decides to create these special grapes.
Special grapes.
Yeah, that radiate good vibes, party vibes to be specific. He wants to infuse the world with a little joy and excitement, which sounds harmless enough, right?
Well, you know what they say about the road to Hades being paved with good intentions.
Exactly. Things go spectacularly sideways when his little experiment accidentally contaminates the Earth's water supply.
Oh, no. So instead of just a few happy vibes, he unleashes a global frenzy.
Pretty much. Suddenly, rivers are turning into wine, and the entire world is caught up in a spontaneous, unscheduled, and utterly chaotic celebration.
I can only imagine the mayhem. What are some of the highlights? Give us a glimpse into this worldwide party.
Well, picture this. The fountain in London's Trafalgar Square is erupting with merlot instead of water. Tourists are doing the conga line with pigeons sporting tiny grape leaf hats. Even the Queen's Guard is caught up in the revelry, their stern faces replaced with goofy grins.
Okay, now that's a sight I would have loved to see. What about other parts of the world? How is everyone else handling this sudden influx of party vibes?
It's pure pandemonium. In Rio, the beaches are overflowing with samba-dancing beachgoers and seagulls who've seemingly picked up enough Portuguese to order another round of caipirinhas. Tokyo businessmen are passed out in karaoke bars after a citywide sing-off, and in the Australian outback, dingoes are riding kangaroos like rodeo champions. Even the penguins in the Antarctic are getting in the action, belly sliding across the ice with a newfound enthusiasm.
Wow, it sounds like Dionysus really outdid himself. But amidst all this fun, you'd think he would realize things were getting out of control. Did he ever try to put a stop to the madness?
Oh, he does try, but it's not that easy. Armed with a hangover potion, some heavy-duty pruning shears, and get this, a pair of noise-canceling headphones, he sets out to undo his little blunder.
Nah.
I guess even gods need a break from the noise sometimes.
That's hilarious. I never imagined a god needing noise-canceling headphones.
Yeah.
But it sounds like he was having a tough time containing the chaos. Did he ever manage to get things back to normal?
He did, but not before a major epiphany. The magical vines just kept growing, with every raindrop fueling the party to even greater heights of craziness. Finally, he finds himself perched atop the Eiffel Tower, which for some reason has become the epicenter of this global wine fest.
Yeah.
Looking out at the world, he sees the utter chaos he's unleashed, but he also sees something else. Joy. Pure, unadulterated joy.
So instead of being horrified by the mess he'd made, he had the change of heart.
Exactly. He realizes that he's not just the god of wine, but the god of revelry itself. He sees that this out-of-control party, for all its craziness, is also a celebration of life, of human connection, of letting loose and having fun. And instead of shutting it down, he decides to embrace it, to channel its energy into something more positive.
That's quite a shift in perspective. How did he manage to transform a global frenzy into a celebration?
He uses his godly powers to guide the energy of the party, to shift it from pure chaos to a celebration of shared joy, laughter, and music. And the amazing thing is it works. The intense glow of the grapes softens, they revert back to normal grapes, and the party, while still going strong, takes on a more harmonious, celebratory vibe.
So what you're saying is he didn't just fix his mistake, he actually turned it into something beautiful.
Exactly. And when the world finally wakes up the next morning, they're undoubtedly nursing some massive hangovers, but they're also unharmed. The magical grapes are gone, the rivers are back to normal, and life, for the most part, resumes its regular rhythm.
I bet there were some wild stories being shared the next morning.
Oh, absolutely. Water cooler conversations must have reached legendary status that day. And back up on Mount Olympus, Dionysus is facing a rather bewildered Zeus.
Oh no.
But instead of facing punishment, he decides to give Zeus a crash course on the art of fermentation.
That's hilarious. It's like he's saying, hey, loosen up a bit, Zeus. Everyone needs a little fun now and then.
Exactly. And it highlights another layer to the story, right? It's not just about the dangers of unchecked experimentation or even the unexpected consequences of good intentions. It's also about the importance of finding that sweet spot between order and chaos, between responsibility and revelry.
Yeah. It makes you think about our own lives, doesn't it? We often try to control everything to keep things neat and predictable, but sometimes a little bit of chaos, a little letting loose can actually be a good thing.
It certainly seems to have worked out for the world in the story. They got a global party, a few laughs, and maybe even learned a thing or two about themselves along the way.
And in the end, that's what makes these stories so captivating, right? They take these larger-than-life concepts like virtual reality and the power of the gods and weave them into narratives that feel surprisingly relatable. They make us think about our own lives and our own relationship with technology, with power, and with the world around us.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the most incredible stories are hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered in the everyday.
Well said, Julia. And on that note, we've reached the end of another episode of the Freaky Stories podcast. We hope these stories have left you with a sense of wonder and maybe even a few chills down your spine.
Don't forget to rate and follow the Freaky Stories podcast so you don't miss out on our next thrilling adventure.
Until then, listeners, keep your eyes peeled for the strange and the unusual. You never know when a seemingly normal day might take a freaky turn. And if you ever find yourself offered a chance to become a god in a VR game, maybe think twice before you log in. Sweet dreams.